Today we're going to be looking at the two titans of strength and bodybuilding from the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm sure you guys can guess, but we're gonna look at Ronnie Coleman and we're gonna look at Mariusz Pudzianowski, and we're gonna compare. Do you think that Ronnie Coleman could have stolen one of those titles from Mariusz? We're gonna break it down head to toe. Let me know off the bat, what do you think in the comments? Is it possible that Ronnie had a chance? We're also going to make the assumption that Ronnie isn't training for strongman. He just turns up in his Mr. Olympia shape, give or take, and he's doing what he's capable of doing. Now we know Ronnie has won Mr. Olympia more than anyone else with 8 titles. Other than Lee Haney, who also has 8, he is the icon of bodybuilding and one of the most impressive physiques of all time, an absolute monster. Mariusz, on the other hand, he looks as close to a bodybuilder as strongmen get, and he has won World's Strongest Man more than anyone else with 5 times. Now, we say that they crossed over because Ronnie started in 1998 and finished in 2005. Mariusz had his first Worlds win in 2003 and had his last one in 2008. So there was a really solid carryover. Now let's compare these men in all of their near naked glory. We've got Ronnie Coleman at 5'11" and his off-season weight up to 330 pounds. Mariusz is 2 inches taller at 6'1" and a little bit lighter at 313 pounds when he competed in strongman. That little height difference, not a big deal. The weight difference, not a big deal. This is sort of a wash. I think 2 inches, even though Ronnie is under 6 feet and we don't really have many world's winners under 6 feet, it is possible. And in this era, obviously you don't need to be 6'8" to be able to be successful, as Mariusz dominated and he was not all that much taller than Ronnie. If we go to accolades, one really interesting thing about both of these guys is that they competed the same number of times in professional shows at everyone's favorite number, 69. Ronnie ended up winning 26 times, 8 of those being Mr. Olympia titles, so 26 of 69. Mariusz, very, very impressively, this stunned me when I looked it up. He competed 69 times and he won 50 of 69 times, an absolutely incredible win rate. He won 5 of his 9 World's Strongest Man appearances. Generally speaking, the training methodologies used to build muscle and the training methodologies used to build strength have similarities, but at the top level, they are not the same thing. If you want to get into strongman, I have a strongman PDF off-season program. There are commercial gym options. There's also a strongman gym option. You will be sorted regardless of your place, regardless of your training situation. There is also 12 weeks of education on strongman. This is your best foray into the world. If you'd like to come over to the bright side where we eat lots of good tasting food, we would welcome you and love you. Ronnie, 800 pounds by 2 reps for a deadlift. That is good. Nowadays, it is not competitive. Mariusz's best deadlift was 415 kilos. That's, unfortunately, Ronnie, not really close. Squatting was one of his most famous things. We've seen that video of him squatting 800 pounds for reps. That is an 800-pound double squat. The best listed squat by Mariusz is 380 kilos. That is 840 pounds. So that's really quite close. Next up is bench press. Ronnie Coleman, 500-pound bench press for 5 reps. I could not do that. That would not be possible for me. And sorry, for squats, I would be close. I think I could probably do 3 or 4 at 800 pounds without knee wraps on. With knee wraps, I could probably do it for 6 or 7. Contrast that to Mariusz's personal best at 290 kilos. That is absurd. I actually don't even know if I believe that, because that is insane and that would destroy anyone on the pro circuit right now when it comes to bench pressing. He does look like a good bench presser, but... now we have some other numbers for Ronnie that are less strongman, but let's just run through them. We've got military press, a barbell shoulder press, 315 pounds by 12 reps, bent over row, over 500 pounds for sets of 10, front squats, 585 sets of 4, hack squat, 765 for sets of 8. This is getting us into an interesting conversation where Mariusz had a really high work capacity and his anaerobic fitness was really, really good. And that's what allowed him to shine. His agility was great, but bodybuilders just have a whole different volume to their training. If we're talking 20 reps per leg, in lunges. We would never, never, never do that. 40 reps of a set would have us incapacitated for the next 4 or 5 days. And so there's some evidence to say that as a competition goes on, Ronnie wouldn't get all that tired. He would still be able to do relatively well. One strongman interesting piece from Ronnie in terms of lifts is that his grip strength, he's very, very, very close to closing Captains of Crush number 3. This isn't necessarily the most relatable thing for a thing like a farmer's walk or a frame carry, but is a reasonable assumption to how strong someone might be. Captains of Crush number 3, for those who haven't done it, very, very difficult. I would be very close to closing it, but I couldn't. So our grip strength would probably be relatively similar. Now, with shoulder strength, we can make one semi-direct comparison where military presses, strict shoulder press, 143 kilos for 12 reps. This is not with any sort of leg drive or triple extension, which I would assume Ronnie would be able to have some level of it because his legs are so strong. If we compare that to Marius's best log lift at 172 kilos, a set of 12 reps at 143 would tell me that you can do more than a single at 172. So peak upper body strength, overhead pressing, we might give the edge to Ronnie. We did find one video of Ronnie showing that he can run to some extent. He ran about 10 meters on the beach in scuba gear. Didn't look good, but I don't think anyone would look good running in scuba gear. Ronnie was a cop though, so let's not forget that, because if you're a cop, you have to pass the cop physicals, meaning you have to be able to run, you have to be able to have some level of agility. This is going to be the controversial bit of the video. We're starting at 2002 and we're going through 2004, evaluating event by event, how could Ronnie stack up to Marius? Event by event, we started with the flip and drag. This is really difficult to know what Ronnie would be able to do. We see that Marius had 10 points at 39 seconds. Zydrunas came second, 46 seconds. In third was Magnus Samuelsson at 52 seconds. Well, let's assume that we know his deadlift strength is pretty good. We know his just brute force is very good. His work capacity has to be relatively high. Let's just give him a top 3 result on flip and drag. Next up, we have farmer's walk. This is only 120 kilos per hand for 75 meters. Marius again won this event at 34 seconds, and second in this event was Rasanen, I don't know him, Finnish guy, in 40 seconds. So there's a 6-second gap in there. If I'm thinking about 75 meters, if you're moving relatively fast, you're moving about 2 meters a second. Marius a little bit faster than that. Do I see Ronnie moving at 2 meters a second, assuming that he could hold 120 kilos per hand for 40 seconds, which I know that he could? I think it'd be relatively close. Let's put him second in the farmer's walk. So we have 8 points in the flip and drag. We have 9 points in the farmer's walk. We've got 17 points total. Next up is the squat lifts. Now, Marius managed 4 reps at 318 kilos. The winner of this event was Sven Karlsson with 14 reps. We do have good stats on Ronnie's squatting ability, where he did 800 for a double. Now, 800 is 363. Let's say he falls somewhere in the 8 to 10 rep category. If we say he finishes with 9, so we've got 8, 9, 8, which means we're at 25 points through the squat lift with 4 events to go. Next up, we had truck pull. Ronnie's heavy. He's heavy and dense, heavy and relatively short. Arguably, he could finish anywhere in there. You know, he would have stronger arms than anyone else. And believe it or not, arms are more important than legs when it comes to truck pull. Your legs are just there to hold your body in position. If you try to drive with your legs, you just rise up. It's really hold your position and pull with your arms. So I'm going to say Ronnie be really good at this. I'm going to put him in that 44-second chunk somewhere. I'll put him 1 spot behind Marius. We'll give him another 8 points, putting us at 32 points going into a shield carry. The shield carry here was 175 kilos. Marius carried the shield for 127 meters, which feels insane to me. Ronnie's doing lunges with 100 kilos, 40 reps total. That would be like 50 meters, but you're lunging, you're not walking. We'll just put him at 100 meters. That gives him 6 points for this event. And grand total, leading into deadlifts, what was I at? So if we're at 32 and he gets 6, we're now at 38. Moving on to deadlifts. Again, we're going to have a pretty good idea here. It was a car deadlift, and it doesn't give us a weight, which is amazing. But most guys here are finishing at the 8-9 rep mark. The winner of the event had 11, and that was Bergmanis from Latvia. I'm going to give Ronnie 10 here on this setup. I'm going to give him 10 reps. That gives him 9 points. 9 points on top of his 38 gives him now 47, leading into Atlas Stones. Let's just assume that Ronnie gets into a suit. He generally knows how to use a suit. I think for reps, he'd be a better deadlifter than Marius. So he's got 47 points now going into the last event. With 10 competitors, 47 points going to the last event, he can't beat Marius. Even if he won the event, that is not enough to dethrone Marius. I believe in 2002, I think Ronnie was capable of coming in second at World's Strongest Man. This takes us to his final shot in 2005, where, again, Marius won this year by 14 points over Jesse Marunde. We start off with Fingal's Finger, and this is the worst result I have seen from Marius. Only 3 points in the Fingal's Finger. The best result was Jesse Marunde, 5 in 34 seconds. Marius, he came in third last with 52 seconds. I am going to say that Ronnie could beat Marius on this. Is he going to be one of the best in the world? No, he's not overly tall, but his arm and tricep strength is just so high. I feel like he would be able to, even with relatively bad technique, be able to just sort of power through. I'm going to give Ronnie 7 points on this. That would assume that he's done it in sub 40 seconds. I don't think he's doing it in sub 35 like Jesse Marunde did, but we're going to give him 7 points in event number 1. Next up is the Hercules Hold. This is 160 kilos for a time. I see him being good. I don't see him destroying and running away. We've got the winner in this event at 71 seconds. Marius was all the way down at 49. Second place was in 56. Do I think Ronnie could hold 160 kilos for 50 plus seconds? I do. I think we're going to put him somewhere around 55 seconds. That's giving him 8 points in the event. So we've got 7 and 8 points. He's at 15 points. Now, 15 points at this stage in the show is tied for second. Sorry. So he's got off to a really good start. All right, now we get to Fridge Carry, the infamous Fridge Carry. It's 410 kilos. It's effectively a yoke. 410 kilos for 20 meters. Marius did this in 15 seconds and won the event. With Ronnie's general strength and just his mass everywhere, I'm going to give him second on this event. We'll give it to Marius, but I'm going to say Ronnie finishes somewhere between 15 and 16 seconds behind Marius for 9 points. So we're at 7 points, 8 points, 9 points. We're at 24 total points. Next up is the log lift at 130 kilos. Well, Ronnie has strict press 140 for a set of 10. Of course, there's cleaning the log, and that's a factor. But I see him really, really doing well in a log press for reps event. You give him a bit of legs, and you're thinking his work capacity is so high, he should just be able to burn through. This is what I'm going to say is Ronnie's first World's Strongest Man event win. Comes at a very good time for him, giving him 34 points total. Going into the squat lift, which is 260 to 360 kilos, 75-second time limit, 7 lifts, 4 time. I believe for sure that Ronnie could get all 7. The best time was 27 seconds. That's fast. That's 3.5, 4 seconds per squat. I'm going to give Ronnie third in this. I think he could do it faster than 38. I don't think he could do it faster than 30. Gives us another 8 points, meaning we're now at 42 points with 2 events left. Next up is the ding carry. If you haven't seen the ding carry, this is one of the coolest things that they've done. Marius won this event at 90 meters. Second place all the way down at 77.5 meters, which was Vertanen. Let's give Ronnie between first and second here, somewhere around the 80, 85 meter mark. Again, their work capacity, their conditioning, These are the two things with Ronnie. His static strength is so good. His strength in every muscle group would be so good because he focuses so much on them. And his work capacity would be really high. His agility, as a former cop, he has to be able to at least run. So all of the pieces have to be there. We're going to give him second place, meaning 9 points, meaning we're at 51 points leading into the final event, which is Atlas stones. These Atlas stones were 100 to 160 kilos. This is not heavy. The winner is, again, Mariusz Pudzianowski, 5 in 27.49 seconds. Gut feel. I think Ronnie could get through them all. I don't think that's a big problem. A 300-pound stone, I think he could pick that up relatively easily. Might not be the smoothest thing in the world. He might not be sprinting from one to the next, but I'm going to put him sub 36, but above 30 seconds, meaning he gets 8 points in this event. 8 points means that he is now at 59 points. This is a loss by 1 point. But if he were in the contest, he beat Mariusz in Fingal's fingers, hypothetically, and he beat him in log lift. This means that those are 2 points that Mariusz would have lost. Meaning Mariusz would have been at 58 and Ronnie would have been at 59. I think if Ronnie Coleman competed in shape with some moderate level of directed strongman training at the 2005 World's Strongest Man, it's possible that Ronnie Coleman could have been crowned the World's Strongest Man. Big statement to say that he could have dethroned the best of all time when it comes to World's Strongest Man. What do you guys think? Do you think Ronnie could have won World's Strongest Man? I genuinely think, as someone who has won World's Strongest Man, I genuinely think that it would have been possible. He is a genetic freak. He obviously knew how to train hard. He obviously was incredibly strong. It's possible. Sound off in the comments. Let's hear what you have to say. As per usual, lift heavy, be kind, and we'll catch you in the next video.